G'day team, welcome to Beyond the Close podcast where we talk about closing and other things related to sales because sales is not just about the close. Today's guest, his name is Brendan Geoghegan. You can't say that 3 times fast, but Brendan is the epitome of the high ticket closer. When you think about high ticket closing, you're thinking 40K months, you're thinking very high income, and you're also thinking savages, you're thinking certain things, and Brendan goes against the grain. This guy is a top producer on an 8-figure sales team, one of the highest performing sales teams in Australia. We've worked together now for over a year. We get deep into this podcast. I really wanted to unpack his journey in sales. How do you go from real estate or construction to real estate to high ticket sales? How do you manage work-life balance with a wife and 3 kids whilst being a beast and earning a high income in high ticket? This one, it's a must listen. It goes for about 40 minutes. Enjoy. Oh, and bullseyes. Oh, what did we get?
Bullseyes. Got a good one.
That was our best one.
That one.
I went on holidays. That was the best.
Yes.
Just
It's February. It's a short month.
Brendan,
Kris, how are you?
I'm well, mate.
Very good. Good to hear.
That was the first time I've ever seen you miss your targets.
Yeah, not a solid start to the day, but we'll write that off. We'll say that was a month where I had some holidays, and yeah, still got time to hit the targets.
Still got time.
Yeah.
Yeah, darts is not easy.
No, it's definitely something that I don't put a lot of focus into. Luckily, I put a lot more focus into my sales targets. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have fun with it.
Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. So just to set things up and just to set the stage a little bit for our convo today, I think it's important just to give some context. So you and I, we met 12 months ago, a little bit over 12 months ago, maybe a year and 2 months or so.
Yeah, it's been a little over 12 months now, so it's been a fun journey, mate.
That's it. So Brendan and I met. I was looking for a closer to join a sales team, my sales team, and we met. We spoke. He seemed like a really nice guy. Didn't seem like the typical kind of savage, brutal closer that people who think about the term high ticket closer. When that comes to mind, that's sometimes what you envision. So had a lot of experience, and at the time, and still to this day, it's a very elite team. And so the way to get onto that team is to start as an appointment setter, learn how to prospect in the system, set for yourself, hit targets, and then become elevated onto the A team. And so it's almost like a sporting team where you've got to prove yourself to get onto the team.
Correct.
And you've got to perform, and you got to take someone's spot.
Yeah, pretty much. It was there was a few savage guys there that have been in the industry for a long time, and mate, I just remember putting in a lot of study to get on that A team. Essentially, that was the goal there. Obviously, not the end goal, but was to get in there and attack it pretty hard and do well. So, luckily, I was able to achieve that.
And so 12 months later, you were the top producer on that team. So going from, being able to go back and prove yourself, not having the ego to go, hey, I'm really good. I know I'm good. I know I'm going to perform. I want to jump on that team. I want to go straight to the top straight away.
Yes.
Seeing potential in the team and then being able to go, all right, I'm going to back myself. I'm going to jump through the hoops that have been presented to me.
Yes.
I'm going to back myself, and I'm going to get on this team. This is the way that I'm going to do it. To then being the top producer, and last year on this offer, it's a property education offer, high ticket, around 7,400 average sale.
Yes.
Last year, 400 sales.
400, yeah. It added up quickly. I don't honestly, I track my metrics every single month and obviously know where I'm at and what I'm doing and where I'm heading. But 400, when I added them all up at the end of the year, it was, a little bit surprising because, in my opinion, I look at my targets each month, what you do over a year is just a byproduct of the work you put in. So it's kind of like a vanity metric to me. I just want to help as many people as possible. Whatever that number is great. I was pretty surprised, to be honest, 400.
And 3 mil in rev at over 80% cash collection.
Yes. Pretty wild to look back on it and see that. But that's been a lot of good people behind me, like the ticket, that we operate in, a lot of good team members, a lot of people behind you. It's not just me. There's a lot that goes into this. You as a sales trainer, a lot of other people in that. And some other good people that close as well that sort of push you to be better. So I love the environment, and I think that just helps me hit some good numbers.
Awesome, man. Well, why don't we move back and backtrack and just talk about the career journey? How did you get here? Because that's an incredible year. Yes. It's an elite year. You earned a shitload of commission. And when people think about high ticket closing, they think about the 30, 40K months.
Yeah.
That's what everyone wants consistently. Yes. That's why a lot of people get into this. They hear about those big numbers. You're a living, breathing example of that. Mm-hmm. So it'd be good to know, let's go back to, early career. What's been the journey for you getting into high ticket and becoming a top producer?
Yeah, mate. Well, look, how much time do we have? So actually started out pretty early in property. So started out as a carpenter, went to night school, did my builder's course. So from a pretty young age, I've always been in property, both building for other people, building for my wife and I. Wife and I have been together for a very long time. Used real estate to get off the tools. So went in, became a real estate agent, and was pretty fortunate, came into an office, which I think your partner, Shani, she knows the background of that office. They're pretty savage.
We can say their name?
Yeah, Love Realty in Newcastle. Shout out to those guys. They taught me a lot about negotiation and just work ethic. It was nothing to do an 80-hour week, 12 o'clock at midnight, be at a vendor's house signing deals. It was just, you do everything for your client to get them the best result, and you don't put anything on hold. You do it when it's there. So that was a pretty good introduction into real estate. I probably would say same thing, hit really good numbers, good metrics, but kind of over a 3-year period, I would say went maybe too hard, 80 hours a week, every single week, missed a lot of family time and kind of burnt myself out, I would say, a little bit. So had my dad actually on the Gold Coast. He was a business development manager for a high ticket closer, and he was closing high ticket. He'd been on to me for years. So come up, meet him. He's on the Gold Coast, so I lived in Newcastle, so it was a bit of a travel difference. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm in real estate. I'm doing well. Kind of all I knew. But he kept persisting, come up, just fly up, meet the coach. Long story short, flew up at a live event, seen what dad was doing, met the coach, fell in love with it. Flew back to Newcastle, handed in my resignation, not necessarily moved to the Gold Coast, had my wife, 2 kids at the time, had a house that we'd built that was meant to be our forever home, packed the kids up, packed the family up, said, we all obviously agreed, but let's move up to the Gold Coast. This is a new chapter for us. So I flew in and out of the Gold Coast for 16 weeks, did my trial, smashed the trial, started closing high ticket in the property space, and kind of the rest was history from there.
What year was that?
Don't know the specific year. I've been in this for, I would say, 7 years now. So, or probably a little longer, 7, 8 years ago. And ever since, it's been started with that coach, learn a lot, had a great time, helped a lot of people, make a lot of money through developments, and then started my own business with dad. Flew around Australia and just sold high ticket for coaches. So been a super rewarding journey for both me, people we've signed up in our high ticket as well. And it's just been a life-changing journey.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And just real estate is renowned for being brutal and hard work and ruthless for people who work in it. People see the tip of the iceberg. They see the flashy cars, the suits.
Coffees
it looks
cafes.
Yeah, coffees at the cafe. They think it's glamorous, and then the underbelly of that is it's like hard labor. It's like being in a North Korean camp.
100%.
And it's work. But where you actually cut your teeth in real estate is legendary for being another level of that. And I had never heard of the guys down at that real estate office, but until recently, until maybe 2 years ago or a year ago, when I met Shani, and so heard about them. Actually, because I saw these for sale signs that was sold with love.
Yep.
Or
purple signs.
Yeah, the purple signs sold with love, and And then so I asked, I was like, that's a really interesting sort of real estate sign. And so, I learned then, Shani told me about the office, how they were a high performing office, and they got to where they are being so successful by being extremely systemized, but also extremely diligent.
Yes.
With training and also with accountability to numbers. And everyone who's worked there has an extreme level of work ethic.
Absolutely. Like other agencies, if you've got their name on your resume, they'll take you. Hands down. Any other like sales organization, they want people from that office because they're drilled in so many areas, like just work ethic, caring about the client, anything, systems, structures, like nothing's too much. So yeah, you get some really good people. And I think I'm super grateful for it. I grinded 3 years, 80 hours a week. Don't regret it at all. Learned a lot. But I think you get to a point where, you just want to move on. You want to do other things. And I'm grateful it led me to high ticket. So
it sounds like it built the foundation
100%
for this career. There's been a couple of things I've really observed about you that have probably go against the grain for me. One of those is work ethic. And when I say go against the grain, I say work ethic because in this space, a high ticket space, often people are looking for a flexible lifestyle. They're looking to travel to Bali.
Yep.
They're looking to do a couple of calls here and there to, in and amongst their life.
And make $1 million.
Yeah, and they do. They want to make $1 million.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And you are able to do that, and there are gigs that allow that. Yeah. And so you can have the work-life balance. I don't know if I've ever seen someone who has the work ethic that you have. I think you're up there with someone who I'm honestly struggling to think of anyone who has that work ethic that you have that I've observed. It's an unusual level of hunger and desire that you have.
Appreciate
so
it.
So where does that come from for you? And because I feel like that's a big part of your success if I compare it to other closers or sales reps who have a lot of talent.
Sure.
One of the things that really separates you is you've got a beast-like work ethic. So I think it sounds like some of that came from it was ingrained in you in your real estate training, but where do you derive such beast-like work ethic that drives your success?
I think that comes from a really young age. It's been sort of ingrained in me through my family. So my mum, love her to bits, she had me when she was really young, and I seen her work and struggle really hard, to my stepdad as well, to give me everything that I wanted. And beyond that, like my mum's one of 9. So we come from a massive family, so very loving family. We were always together. And my grandfather in particular, he came over to this country with not a whole lot, just pretty much a suitcase, but was able to work very hard, 9 kids, buy a couple of properties in cash, never had loans or anything like that. And he still instilled a really good work ethic into our family. So I think a lot of it comes back from that, but then also a lot of mentors along the way, like my dad in there, the real estate career as well. Had a lot of coaches. Dad always used to say that there's an elastic band in everybody's mind in regards to their financial ability. And it's not until you surround yourself with other people who are maybe in a higher earning capacity, or not even earning capacity, just doing really well in life and enjoying life, have a really good work-life balance, you can kind of see what other people are doing, and it just enables you to be able to, I guess, stretch your goals a little bit more, and just have bigger goals essentially. So I'd say that's where my work ethic come from. Was always my family and seeing them work hard to give me everything, and I want to do the same and provide the same for my kids. I've got 3 kids, got a beautiful wife. We've been together since we were pretty much 18. So things are great there, and I want to give them everything. So, mate, I'll work. And this honestly doesn't feel like work for me. Yeah, huge amount of calls, everything like that. But you get cancellations, you get reschedules. So like my wife and I will go for a walk at 1 o'clock every day. And we'll go down to Kingy, we'll go to the creek, we'll go for a swim, we'll go jump in the pool. So there's that flexibility throughout the day. And you can see that consistency of flexibility as well, even though, working hard. When the kids are in bed, I'm back on the laptop, I'm following people up, but I love it. I love the chase, and I love to help people. I'll never sell for a program that doesn't physically help people. It's always got to be able to change their lives. And most of the products that I sell or high ticket courses, I've used them myself to create wealth for my family as well. So it's got to be a coach as well that I guess has the same values as me.
So you have to believe in what you're selling. I think that's super important. I think that it's very hard to sell something that doesn't work or
Very
doesn't get
hard.
results or that sort of screws people over on the delivery side. So you have to sell something you can get behind.
Yes.
And you mentioned just before you're married, 3 kids.
Yep.
It's almost like this balance, like the work-life balance or top producer. Pick one.
Yeah.
Because often it feels like you can't really have both.
Sure.
In sales especially.
Yeah. I hear it a lot.
Talk us through that.
Work-life balance is having a partner that is aligned with you with the same goals. So you're working to commonality, common goals. So if you have a partner behind you that has your back 100%, they want to see you succeed because it's for what you guys are striving to achieve, they'll let you focus your time into that. And obviously you've just got to balance it and have the time there for the kids and stuff as well. Like I drop my kids off at school every single morning, make them breakfast. We're all together as a family. When they come home in the afternoon, I work from home, got my own office built there, opening the door, talking to them about their day. Like there's just that balance there. And then we've got like the freedom in terms of financial ability that if I want to take a couple of weeks off or I want to take the laptop, we'll hook the caravan up, we'll go down the coast, I'll do some calls, some work on the laptop, and then I'll go jump in the pool, go ride the scooters, all of that sort of stuff. So honestly, it looks like I am working hard, but there is also a lot of fun in amongst it as well.
Yeah, I mean that's an attractive lifestyle for anyone.
100%.
And the fact that you can work from home and you can have the separation because you got the home office.
Yep.
By the way, awesome home office.
Appreciate it, mate. That was the big thing when we bought a house, is it had to have room to have a nice office. So pretty happy with it so far. It's only just been built. A few comments of a bit of an echo in there, so just working away. Maybe some foam pads like this place here, and she'll be completely set.
She'll be apples, and
she will be.
It's at those times where I wish that I was a tradie early days. Having just recently completed a renovation myself.
Yes.
It was at that time that I thought, man, this would have been nice to have start as a tradie instead of a cop.
Yep.
But that's where you leverage. You're able to leverage that.
Yeah, 100%.
And so amongst all your calls, you're still able to build your own office recently.
Honestly, I outsourced the whole thing pretty much. I couldn't get a carpenter in to lay the floating floors, so I did that, but everything else was done outsourced because it comes, yourself from this game, like you've got to put a value on your time. And if I can be on a call, closing a call, that's worth more to me than building some frames and putting up an office. So, outsourced pretty much the whole thing. In between, I was just working from home inside. But yeah, it's been a fun process getting it done.
Yeah, the hourly rate trade-off is something I think isn't spoken about enough. Where are we, especially with a high earning, you're an asset, and you can generate such a high level of income per hour that you invest. So, spending time on anything that's not dollar productive, really, it costs you money when you can
100%.
spend $35-$40 an hour to get someone to come do it.
Yeah.
That is a better transaction than doing it yourself. So just before I heard you, there's kind of 2 parts to your work ethic. I think one of them is it's just in your DNA. You were born with it. It was ingrained in you as a kid. It was further hammered in through your early career in real estate. But you've got vision, you've got goals, and I know that's something that you've helped a lot of the guys on the team with as well, who lose focus. I think sales reps can lose focus if they and can get a bit distracted if they don't have the big picture in mind. Mm-hmm. So you're very goal focused. You've got a property portfolio you're building. You're quite active with property.
Yes.
So talk us through the external motivators and not just your DNA. So what do you do with goal setting? How do you stay motivated externally?
Yeah, so my goals are all about my family. I want to set them up for life. I want us to be pretty comfortable in retirement. So we kind of just set a plan to put a lot of our income back into, money producing assets, which is mainly property. I don't know a whole lot about shares and crypto and all of that sort of stuff. So I kind of tend to steer away from that because it's kind of like not tangible. I can't touch it. I know a lot of people make good money and happy days to them, but mine's always been property. So my wife and I, we've like invested a lot of our money and kind of just scaled up over the years. Like we would do some renovations or some house and land package builds, and we'd live in them for a while. We'd love it. Then we'd move on, we'd build another. But we started to do a couple of developments recently, just small 1 into 2 subdivisions and stuff like that, and kind of try and have a goal there that whatever I earn in terms of high ticket, I match it with property as well. So it's kind of like that two pieces to it. And I think like a really good achievement from that is being able to get my wife home, which we've done, spend more time with our kids. That's always been the end goal, and we've been able to achieve that a little bit earlier than what we thought. But yeah, I'd say goals is just putting them down on paper, because anything that's not written, it's just not there. And just keep on checking in with them and then get granular on it. So have your numbers there of, okay, what do I need to do in terms of how many calls do I need to make? How many people do I need to speak to? How many people do I need to follow up? How many sales do I need to make every single week? That will be the byproduct of the end of the year. I've earned that goal. I can have that deposit there to purchase that property, or whatever that goal is. It all comes back to the metrics of tracking yourself, how you're doing in the industry that you love and you're making money from.
Data is so important in sales, and it's under discussed is the importance of knowing where you're at with your numbers.
Definitely.
And tracking that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. If you want to get in touch with us, go to the Closers Dojo on Facebook. This is a Facebook group, free Facebook group for anyone looking to sell or build a sales team. We do sales trainings in there. We share a lot of resources. I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it. But yeah, vision and goals, having property, like having a property portfolio goal, having a family to support, you've got really big values. And I feel like, I feel like it really fuels your drive and desire and hunger.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you've got something to get out of bed for.
Definitely. I see a lot of people in this industry, they've got goals, but they're kind of like not necessarily goals that really fuel them or fire them. Like they haven't found that one goal yet that is going to keep them accountable. And you see a lot of good people in this industry, they come in and they do really well, but they burn out pretty quickly because they're probably not that granular in their numbers, or that goal is not like that stretch goal of like they want to retire their mum or they want to buy their mum a property or something really big there to hold them accountable to it. That's probably where I see a lot of people. And like you mentioned, I've helped some people in the team. And I think that was just digging deeper and deeper and deeper of like, what is this about for you? Because this, like you said, in real estate, it looks like it's glamorous. People are at cafes, they've got cars and all of that. Those people have already most likely been grinding for 30 years or 10 years and they've made it, or they haven't made it in real estate. They've got the fancy cars with the mortgages or the loans on them, and
they're leveraged to the hill.
They're leveraged to the hills. So I think, just
in a bad way.
In a bad way.
Not in a property sense where leverage can work for you. They've got a Merc and it's financed.
Yeah, and that's a lot in that.
They've got
industry.
credit card debt.
Yeah, trying to impress people that they don't necessarily even know. So it's never been about that for me.
That's awesome. And so the other thing when I observe about you that's different, goes against the grain, it's whenever someone thinks about closer, high ticket closing, what do you imagine? You imagine someone getting on a phone call and just you're not getting off the phone until and it's doesn't matter if it's a fit, doesn't matter if this is going to help. We're just going to get, our goal is to get a payment. So you're the opposite of that. You don't there's no hard closing.
No, not
at all.
No.
Yet you are a top producer on one of the most elite sales teams, definitely in Australia. So talk me through your approach to the close and, how you're still able to get sales when you're not hard closing.
I think it just comes back to caring about that person deeply on the phone. Like I mentioned, I come from a big, loving family. Like my pop, we had a 3-bedroom home and we'd have all of our family in there and like just so much love in that room. That's what I put into my phone calls. Like I care about that person on the line and I'm honest in both ways. Like if that product isn't going to get them value, they're not going to get anything out of it. I'm happy to say, look, sorry, Kris, this isn't for you. But on the other hand, like if I can understand their needs, their goals, they've got the time, I've used the product, I've made money, it's changed my family's life. Mate, I believe in that product. And if I believe in that person, I want them to do well. So I'll give them all the facts, the figures, the data, everything that they need to make an informed decision. Then at the end of the call, it's their decision. I'm not going to put the hard sell on. I'm not going to stay on the phone and try and get this person to sign up on the deal, because at the end of the day, I've given them what they need. And most of the time, the next day, I've got an email. Yes, Brendan, thank you so much. Let's proceed. So I think it's just caring about the person on the phone and showing them how you can help them. That gets the deal done.
There's so many ways to skin a cat, and this plays to your strengths. One of the things that I like to teach when training a sales, like my personality, I'm a very high D. I'm a driver. I'm quite assertive. And so I guess my trump card is being that, and it's getting closes. Like my one call close rate is very high.
Yes, it is.
And then my, I guess, even in the early years of my closing, it's that borderline of, do you get the deal or do you get like a bad review because you've been a bit too hard?
Strong.
So and I think for you as well, like that's not your personality is you've got a different personality, and so trying to do that is going to be really inauthentic. So it's utilizing your, I guess it's utilizing your strengths.
Yes. Yeah, it kind of comes across like a little bit awkward when I try and do that. So I never let desperation kind of creep into my sales calls. If I'm behind on targets, just always look at the metrics. Okay, I'm making X amount of calls. I need to up those calls. So never get to that point. I'm always authentic in the way that I do things, and I feel like that works for me. And it works for you. Your nature and how you do calls as well. Like your percentages are extremely great. Like I would say for you coming into this industry and working with you now, like I haven't seen anybody with those sorts of figures before. And that goes with a lot of the team, and you train that team. So that's hats off to you. And obviously the coach that created the product as well, it makes it easier to get good people into the program. But what you've been able to achieve with that team, and let everybody, I would say for you as a coach, what you do well is you let everybody have their own strength, and then you just critique and you help them out with that strength, rather than saying, no, you need to sell this way because this does this, or you need to be more assertive at the end of the call. You look at how they do things, you let them do what they do. And if the stats are there, the sales are there, you're like, you keep doing what you're doing, but you could do X, Y, Z better. And you've made me much better, and I appreciate that.
Well, yeah, look, it's so interesting looking at, my progression as a rep, selling business, selling fitness, and then getting to high ticket, and then building teams and coaching people in high ticket. It's easy to think. It's easy to go, right, sales is this, and this is the correct way to sell, and this is the way that you sell, because I get results this way, and this is the way that I've been trained, and so this is the only way. But then you see other people come through, and then you see results come from this bizarre thing that you would say is incorrect.
Yes.
Now, I'll give it for an example. There was a rep on the team that who was an animal.
Yeah.
And very accepted principle of sales is you got to sell through questions. You got to ask a lot of questions. You got to dig in the you really got to ask the questions. And so that works for me. It's worked for most of the people that I train. But
100%.
This guy comes in and he just dominates.
Yeah.
And you listen to the calls, and the calls are just it's a long pitch.
Yeah.
There's two questions.
Yeah.
And the results are off the charts. And so, seeing so many different selling styles now, sales from my perspective, it's an art.
Yes.
So there's more than one way to skin a cat.
100%.
Expert product, people who are an expert on the product, they don't have to have sales skills because they're such an authority. They sell based upon influence and authority. Others sell based upon their communication style. It's very confident and very certain. So the certainty sort of rubs off.
Correct. Yeah.
And so there's more than one way. So it's really, as a coach, you need to adapt to the style and to what the strengths are of the person who you're coaching.
True.
I think that's important. I think for you, your authenticity, your genuine care comes through. There's no pushiness. There's no hard selling. Yet you're, like you say, you're getting these emails saying I'm in. So let's talk about that. I think that's something interesting to unpack. Is you found recently? I mean, your calendars is, you've got a calendar that would make someone sweat at how stacked it is, and it'd make someone
There's a few
give someone anxiety. I'd say at how many appointments are in the calendar. So you found pretty early on. This goes against another sort of sales principle, that every call needs to have a solid next step, an appointment. You have to advance this sale forward with either a close or an appointment, a follow-up appointment. Yeah. But you found, because your calendar's so stacked, that's dollars. So if I'm doing 12 calls, 15 calls a day, 10 to 15 a day, if I'm setting 5 to 6 follow-ups the next day, it sort of takes away from your calendar. That's what you said. So so you found a different way.
Yes, and that way I love it. Like, so at the end of the conversation, we've obviously spoken about their goals, what they want to achieve, and then I've shown them what parts of the education can help them achieve that goal, shown them a few areas of other people doing it. Then at the end, I kind of leave the ball in their court. So beauty of the coach we sell for, obviously seats are limited, numbers are limited, so that creates a bit of urgency in itself. But leave the ball in their court. Say, hey, you want to join this program? Here's an email. This is your acceptance email. I want to see an I agree in the inbox tomorrow to show that you're serious about this. And then we'll follow up. We'll go through the steps. So most of the time, next morning, waking up to a few I agrees, a few emails coming through. So it works pretty well.
It's a lovely way to wake up.
It is a great way to, feet hit the ground out of bed and check that inbox. I know a lot of people say don't check your inbox until after 10, 11. I'm straight into it. So
you're straight into it.
Straight into it. Boom. There's a few sales. Great. Happy days. There's some more people's lives I can change. I actually got a message 2 days ago from a client that came through the program that I signed up. Just got his first client. That first client to him's worth would be anywhere from 15 to 30 grand. Like, that's the stuff that I love. Like, putting those people into the program. Like, why wouldn't you want to wake up and make those calls? You've been able to change your life through it. You can change others as well.
It just speaks so much for, selling something that you can believe in, that actually works, and that you're just matching that person's desires and goals and what they want and where they want to go with the pathway that you're providing.
Definitely.
So I guess, there's probably a lot of people listening to this that either thinking about getting to high ticket. They're thinking, hey, this Brendan dude, he's got the dream lifestyle. Earning mid 6 figures, very high 6 figures. He's got 3 kids, got a family, work-life balance, seems to have that worked out. Really high income. Drops the kids off at school. Spends time with the kids. Caravans. Is able to work, travels. So, and then there's probably other guys and girls who are listening, who are in sales or who aren't in this specific type of sales, high ticket, who are maybe not where they want to be. So what do you think is the pathway? What's the best advice you could give newcomers to this industry?
I would say for newcomers, I think everybody, even people not from a sales background, what do you love? What are you passionate about? What do you make money from, outside of your 9 to 5? For me, that was property. Always been passionate about property. Love it. Great vehicle of wealth. So that's why I went into high ticket in property. I wouldn't want to sell drop shipping or anything like that. So I would say find your passion, what you're passionate about, and be patient. Start slow. A lot of people that I've seen in this industry that do extremely well, one on our team, he was working at the time and he did this part-time, and in his first month, he made 16 grand. On the side of his 9 to 5. Come in, if you're working 9 to 5, you've got to put the time and effort in to get out of that 9 to 5. If that's your goal, if you love your 9 to 5, great, and you just want a bit of extra money, do some night calls. You're on the phone for 45 minutes. If the kids go to bed at 7, there's people that want to talk at 7:45 because they got kids as well. If you even did 1 call a night, that's 5 calls in a week. If you close 1, 2 of those, that's a bit of extra income. That park that aside, shift aside a day where you're working, and go into it full time if you love it. So that would be, I guess, for the people who are coming into the industry that can't give away their 9 to 5 and need that income coming in, get in part time. People who are already in it, I guess, that want to scale. I think it comes back to discipline, right? Like you need to track your numbers, and if you're not doing as good as you could be, get a coach. Get somebody to train you, coach you, keep you going through the good times and the bad, because it's a roller coaster. It's not every single day you wake up and your email's full of deals. There's days, weeks where it's pretty lean, and you've just got to kind of keep an even keel, like just stay in the same space. Like I have a good day, my emotions don't change that much. I have a bad day, my emotions don't change. Like I just stay even because I know the game now. I've been in the game for a long time, but I see a lot of people, they go up, like their egos get massive. I had a massive day. Like how good am I? They have a bad day and they're like, you can't even talk to the person because they're in the dumps. And it's like, just stay even. Doesn't matter if you're good or you're bad. Like everything evens itself out if you put the work in.
That is another thing that I'll say about you is your even keel is it's crazy how detached from your results you are. Yeah, and that buying into the highs, buying into, hey, I've had a good month, I've had a killer month, I've had a great day week, and then also being super rocked when you're not getting those results.
Yep.
And then that can really sort of cause a rut, bring on a rut.
Yes.
Is that just innate, or is that something you've worked on?
It's kind of been innate, I think, and I've probably worked on it subconsciously throughout my career, but yeah, it's just never really rocked me like it does some other people. Like you see it rocks them really hard, and I try and I get some people in the team that it rocks them a little bit more than others. They come to me for advice, like how do you do it? And I just go, just track your numbers, know what you're doing, like show me your numbers and I'll help you. Okay, that's where you're probably not doing what you could, so just up that and everything will work out. There's always people out there that are looking for help in terms of buying a product to change their life. It's going to happen if you put the work in. So I don't know, I think, subconsciously I probably have worked on it over time, but I just don't let pressure get to me. I never really have in sport, anything like that. Just have never really let the pressure overrule me, and I kind of walk forward into that pressure. I love it. I thrive on it. So I guess that's kind of helped me balance it out a bit.
Are there any tactical tips or things that you do in your sales process that might be different to others, or that you've noticed that get you a result?
I wouldn't say there's a silver bullet or anything like that, but I think I learned pretty early on, like in the real estate days, I was like heavy in property or personal development. And like, I didn't listen to the radio. Like I was audiobooks for 3 years straight. Like wouldn't have even heard a song. I don't even know what songs were out at that time. Didn't touch a drop of alcohol. Like I was disciplined, like I was strict. And looking back, I wish I would have been a little bit more lenient in regards to that and had a bit more fun. And I think what I've learned from that is like you can be focused in certain areas. You don't have to be focused in every single area. Like I feel like I perform better now. I listen to music. Yes, I still listen to podcasts and stuff. Have a few beers with the boys, like have a barbecue, stuff like that. Like I'm not that strict where I would go to a barbecue, I won't drink or nothing like that. I feel like if I'm having fun, I'm performing better. So you need to know where to put your focus area in, and that is with your calls. Like you need to be sharp between the ears when you get on a call, so you need to be primed. Like if that means you're having a bit of a bad day, for me it's the ocean. I'll go jump in the ocean, go for a swim, go for a surf. That'll just get me back to level. I can jump on that next call and I'm good. Like I'm sharp between the ears. I think a lot of people, they'll go into their next call a little bit rocked from the call before. I think you just need to find that thing that it is for you that sort of gets you back to level, and then you can go again.
The state reset, super key.
Yeah.
I had a conversation last week with an elite athlete, Matty Schramer.
Legend, yeah.
And so it's interesting to hear, his routine to cultivate that state, that energy, that focus.
Yes.
Is very disciplined. It's very, it's very structured.
Yeah.
He's extremely focused. He's meditates every day, cold shower, gym, ice bath, like clockwork.
Yep.
It's not always possible when you got kids.
Yep.
And it doesn't always equal success for everyone. So it sounds like you've got a different approach.
Yeah. So my dad, I'll credit him for this. I was like, oh mate, everybody, like the Gary V's, like everybody. I was purchasing all these because like in high ticket, I'm purchasing courses. I'm investing in myself. I'm going to Tony Robbins. I'm doing all of this stuff. I'm following all these gurus and leaders. And Dad's like, that's great. You need to learn and do that. But there comes a point in time where you have to look internally into yourself and say like, what have you learned so far? And then back yourself and be yourself and go into those calls, go into life and be yourself. You've learned enough. So I think a lot of people, from what he said to me, was like, you're getting involved with too many different coaches that teach you too many different things. You don't know what direction you're going in. Pick at least one, stick with that, or learn as much as you can and then implement that. That's the biggest thing, is implementing. You see a lot of people that they divulge in all of these podcasts and all of this self-development, do nothing with it. So yeah, I would say comes a point where you've learned enough, you got to get out there and do the work. That's the hard part.
Love it, Brendan. That's all we've got time for today, mate.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. What's one sort of piece of parting advice you might give to anyone out there who's wanting to really succeed in sales?
I would say you miss every shot that you don't take. So get out there, take some shots. You might not be the best at it when you first start, but if you continually invest in your education, you get good coaches, good people around you, sky's the limit.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Kris.